Hey, 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 Jeff here, and today we're going to talk about Castle Wars. Released to the masses on December 13th of 2004, but previously teased on November 17th of 2004, there's an area on the map that was put there and it was labeled as due December of 2004, which later was released and became Castle Wars, which was kind of cool for Jagex to tease it that way, get some rumors started in the game. That was pretty cool marketing by them for back in the day. Castle Wars is capture the flag, but RuneScape style. Two teams against each other. Team of Zamorak, team of Saradomin. But there's 3 portals in the lobby, and you could choose the middle portal of Guthix, you know, the balance god. And he would put you into either Saradomin or Zamorak, depending on which team had less players. Kind of a cool little feature, so you wouldn't have to sit there spamming which portal to see, oh, can I join this team, can I not? I personally was always a team Saradomin guy. Zamorak was always seen as evil to me, probably from those old Tanoob Show videos, but what team are you? Leave a comment down below. Those pre-game lobbies too, when you're standing with those 3 minutes in between games, especially after a close battle, if you actually were paying attention to how many flags each team captured or not, which most of the time I didn't really mind. I was just going for the highest eliminations I could. And I remember there being a lot of unhinged conversations in those lobbies, even back when the profanity filter was as restrictive as it was. There was a lot of strange things said. Far too many yo mama jokes. Actually, mostly your mama jokes. Currently, Castle Wars is free to play, but back in the day, it was members only. Back when it was released and the player base trended on the younger side, playing Castle Wars became something you had to do once you had a members account finally. Whether you convinced your mom, your dad, or your grandma to pay for that members account, once you had that account, you were going to Castle Wars with your best gear you could afford, something with a special attack hopefully. Maybe you were lucky enough to do Lost City and have a dragon longsword or a dragon dagger. You would grab your best armor, or possibly your best fashion scape depending on the kind of player you were. Maybe a switch or two, switch to that magic short bow, you know, something with a special attack, because if you're a member and you didn't have an item with a special attack, what kind of member were you? Maybe grab a G-Maul, main hand that, go try to spec some people out. There's a lot of fun things you could do back then. It wasn't all about trying to play the game, it was about having fun. Having fun while you're playing a video game should always be the #1 priority, but especially when you're younger, you always prioritize having fun over other stuff. You want to go grind rune crafting, or could you go play Castle Wars and fight other people in this giant playground on the game? That's what people would opt for, and I don't blame them because I did the same thing. I had members before a lot of my friends, so we would end up sharing my account and taking turns playing Castle War games on my account. Can you imagine doing that nowadays with any video game? Anyways, back to the minigame. I never knew this, but when Castle Wars was first released, the bandages were actually down in the main area where you get like your barricades and stuff, and they had to move it up into the starting area because other teams would camp that area, which sounds like an oversight by Jagex, but they never make any oversights like that. Spawning twisted bows. In the nearly 2 decades since the release of Castle Wars, there have not been many major updates to the reward system or really anything to the game. There's minor updates like fixing player models in the game, fixing grapple points, fixing the sound of the catapult, which I'm sure was probably an atrocious sound to start. It was probably one of the Gower brothers snapping like a ruler against a table or something. That's the sound they use for the catapult. As the player base aged and moved on to other games to get their capture the flag fix, like Call of Duty games or Halo, or just playing those games to get that fixed for eliminations, Castle Wars started to become more of a ghost town. And then after the evolution of combat update, it really became a ghost town. The EOC made Castle Wars into a completely different game. I have some footage up above. I never played it with the evolution of combat, and I really don't think there's anyone playing it. I don't want to go on RS3 and play Castle Wars. Please don't make me do it. Even before the EOC came out, people were moving away from mini games like Castle Wars where the cosmetic rewards weren't worth the time. I mean, a 20-minute mini game to get just some cosmetic rewards. But then Jagex decided to make having the profound decorative equipment a completionist reward. From April of 2013 till June of 2019, you had to show a full set of profound decorative equipment to get the trimmed completionist cape, which a lot of players on RuneScape 3 were going for and still are going for. But luckily now they don't have to do the Castle Wars, which at the time was around an 800-hour grind. And if you were trying to do super efficient, which there's like mini games weekends, and using Castle Wars token enhancers, don't ask me what those are, it could take about 300 hours, which is over 10 days of playing Castle Wars on a game where probably people aren't even playing, you're just going to be AFKing in a lobby for 10 hours. That sounds just absolutely terrible. So there needs to be some sort of reboot to Castle Wars, and I'm talking for old school RuneScape. I don't know if RS3 did anything. I'm not looking into that. I'm more about old school. But Castle Wars came out pre-old school, so the bloodline for it is in RS3, so it's nice to see what has happened in RS3, because a lot of updates that happened to old school are based on or kind of like a variation of the RS3 update. What would have to change in modern old school RuneScape to make Castle Wars worth playing again? That's a really tough question. What would you do? A lot of people suggest like item imbues and stuff like that, but there's already like a half a dozen ways to imbue your items on RuneScape, so maybe not that. Would XP rewards make it worthwhile? Monetary rewards? Cosmetic overrides? Like maybe you could make an override for your, I don't know, your rune helmet to make it look like the decorative helmet and have better bonuses? I'm not too sure what they could do to make Castle Wars worthwhile. Maybe that's why they keep it at a arm's length away so they don't have to think about or deal with it. Out of sight, out of mind. But in all seriousness, if there could be a rework to the rewards of Castle Wars, people would play it again. The first thing I would do would be bring in a pet. A pet would bring in a lot of max players that would just want something else to do in the game. There's a lot of people I see standing around the GE, like myself, that would be looking for something to do that would give you maybe a potential reward at a pet. Maybe a pet that's the imp, the sheep, or the rabbit form that you would turn into if you're wearing a opposite god affiliation armor or equipment into the portal. So you would turn into a different animal. Or you could be like Flaggy, where you could have like a flag hopping around behind you. That'd be kind of cool. Something like that would be kind of neat, but you know, let me know what you would think. It just sort of feels like that there aren't many rewards left in the game that aren't sprinkled into the Soul Wars or other mini games that can be put into Castle Wars, unless they like decide to bring other types of rewards into the game, different weapons and stuff, but I don't foresee that falling into the Castle Wars realm of rewards. Even with all of this, there's a part in the back of my mind that wonders, is this all worth it, or is it just the sweet nectar of nostalgia clouding our judgment on all of this? Peak Castle Wars to the majority of us came in our childhood, where everything seemed great, and as years go on, the bad stuff is eroded away from all the good stuff, and you only remember really the good stuff, because that's the stuff you want to remember. You want to remember all the fun you used to have, and I think Castle Wars fits into that kind of perfectly, because if you think of Castle Wars and how it's capture the flag RuneScape style, and all you get from it are cosmetic rewards, like why would anyone want to play it in a modern MMO? Unless you're a kid with the entire summer to waste away. Who cares? It's only July. You still have a whole 2 months to waste. Let's play some Castle Wars, man. Would you be interested in even playing Castle Wars if they decided to revitalize it, rework it at all? Remaster it, as you might want to say? I'm not too sure if I would. I'd give it a shot, possibly, if they actually did something drastic to it, maybe a whole new map or rotating map, so that would be pretty neat. But yeah, let me know down below what you thought of this video, what you thought of me, because I've been Jeff. If you like this, leave a like, subscribe for more, check out this video here, and I really appreciate you watching this. I make all sorts of videos, so make sure you check out my channel and check out more. Subscribe for more. See you later. Goodbye.